Okay, welcome back, Jeb Ali. In the last tutorial, if you remember, we got our car moving. If you remember, we used this code just here. We used the forever loop, which forever checks if we're pressing the space key. If we are, our car, remember, moved at 0.5 steps. Else, it would continually move at 1 step. So when we press our space or press our green flag, remember our car, after a slight pause, would move, and then using the left and right arrow, we could control our car. Now, in this tutorial, we're going to add some more code to our block of code here. We are going to first use an if statement to check if we are accelerating. So we're going to be able to make our car go a little bit faster if we want. So if you remember where you get the if statement, say it now. If you were to say control, you are correct. So in the control block, we're going to use an if statement. Here we go. Here's our if statement. So if statements are good for checking things. So what we're going to do now is check if we're pressing the accelerator to make our car go faster. So I chose for my accelerator the up arrow because it's close to the left and right. It's really easy to press the accelerator. So we need a sensing block. So we're checking if we're pressing a key. So in the sensing, I'm checking for a key press. So there's my key press block. Drag that on there. And we're checking this time if the up arrow. So instead of spaced, we're going to choose the up arrow. So I'm just going to move that there. And I'm going to click on the drop down arrow and change it to up arrow. Okay, so I'm going to drag and put that inside my if statement. So here it's saying if the key up is pressed, something's going to happen in here. So what we're going to do, we're going to make our car go faster. So what block moves our car? So there was a little clue there, the move block. Yes, the move block. So in motion, move, motion, there you go. So we've got move, and there we've got move 10 steps. Now 10 steps is pretty fast. Let's see what happens when I will put that in there. So if I put my move 10 steps inside the mouth of my if block. Now, be careful here because you're going to put the if block, your new if block, inside your forever loop. But make sure it doesn't go inside the else or the if of your previous if else block. I'm going to drag and drop it just inside there. Can you see it's gone inside there? Don't put it in here. Make sure it's just inside the forever loop. Okay, let's try that now. So when I press my green flag, I'll put it full screen. You're going to see what's going to happen. What do you think? Is it going to go fast or slow or too fast? Let's have a look. So it goes back to my position when I press the green flag. Wait a few seconds, then I'm turning, and then I press far, far too fast. So my 10 steps is a little bit quick. So what I'm going to do there, I'm going to reduce that. Obviously, it's got to be more than 1 because that's my normal speed. Obviously, it can't be 0.5 because that's half of 1, so that's my braking speed. So I'm going to try 3 steps. You might want to experiment here. So when I press my green flag, after a few seconds, turn. That's better. When I press my arrow, I get a nice bit of acceleration. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to keep mine to 3 steps. Okay, so that's the acceleration. But now, what happens when we go off the track? We just continue, don't we? So really, you can just drive wherever you want. So we've got to stop that. We're going to make our car, wait for it, crash when it goes onto the grass. So we need to check if our car is touching the grass. So there's some clues for what code we're going to use there. So we're going to use another if statement, okay? So I'm just going to get my if statement, control. So I go to control. So there's my friend, the if statement. The if statement is really useful, isn't it? It's good for checking. So we used it to check if the space bar is pressed. We used it here to check if the up arrow is pressed. Now, what do you think we're going to check now? We want to check if our car goes onto the grass. So there's no way of calling it grass. We've not called it grass, but we could use maybe the color. So if we say if touching green, our car will crash. So that's what we're going to do. So again, we need a sensing block. So I'm going to go to sensing, And you've got a really useful block here, touching color. So if I drag that on here, okay, I'm just going to put that there for now. Now you can see you've got a color picker. So if you just click on there, and then, now can you see what I'm going to do there? I'm going to click on this little tool here. This is called a color dropper. And that's a way of checking or choosing a color that you've used before. So if I click on there, and then I move my mouse onto my racetrack, you can see as I move, that circle changes color as I move over each color. So I want the green. So if I click on the green with my circle, can you see what's happened? It's chosen the color for me and it's put it in here. Okay, then I can drag that color and put it between my if and then. Can you see now it's checking if I'm touching the green color of my grass. If I am, my car's going to crash. So the way it does crash is all it does is change costume. If you remember, we've got two costumes. We've got my car costume and my car crash costume. So I basically want my car to change costumes when it goes onto the green. So what we're going to use here, what do you think? So the way it looks, our car is going to change. So if you think, yeah, the looks block. So if I go into the looks block, and if I go to switch to costume, can you see here we've got switch costume. Be careful here, don't choose switch backdrop. Make sure you've got switch costume and you drag that and put that inside the mouth of your if. So it's basically saying here, if it touches green, change to the car crash costume. That's difficult to say. Now, if it does turn into a car crash and you've basically ended your game, so you want your game to stop at this point. So we're going to stop everything from happening, the car moving, anything else moving in the game. So the way we do that, we've got a special block under events, okay? And that is stop all. And I'm not, sorry, no, it's not in events, it's in control. Sorry, in control. That's better. If you scroll down, you've got a special block called stop all. Can you see nothing can join underneath it? That basically says all the other code on your game will stop. And you drag and drop that inside the mouth of your if. So basically saying if it touches the green, your car touches the green, it switches to the car crash costume and everything stops and your game is over. Now, what we've got to do next, what do you think? Is this code going to work if I just leave it here? No, we need to join it inside my forever loop. So what I do finally is drag that code and place it below the other if statements. Make sure they're all below each other, okay? You don't have any blocks inside each other. Your ifs must be stacked on top of each other. Can you see I've got if, and if. The final one checks if I go on the grass. So let's try that now. Let's test it. So I'll make it full screen, press my green flag, and I'm going to start in a couple of seconds. So off I go. My accelerator works. If I do too fast, and there you go. Can you see? I've touched the green, I've changed costume, and the game stopped. But now, if you remember, we used the block to return our character to the middle and switch our costume back. So when I press my green flag, everything is returned back to normal. Okay, and that is the end of this tutorial, and that has gone through using more of those if statements. The first one to check if the arrow's been pressed, the up arrow, to move our car quicker. The second if statement, we checked if our car is touching the green. If it is, it switches costume to car crash, and also uses the block here from control to stop all the code and basically end your game. Okay. Hope that was nice and simple. I'll leave that code here for you. You can pause your video now and you can look through the code. If you're a little bit stuck, go back and watch the video or parts of the video again. So I wish you luck and I'll see you in the next